In today's NFL, you simply cannot win without an above-average quarterback. We are way past the days when star-studded teams can ride guys like Jeff Hostetler, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, and Joe Flacco to a Super Bowl. As such, quarterbacks have much shorter leashes these days. You can only hold your team back for so long before a change is made. And if these NFL QBs don't pick it up soon, they'll be showing the bench or unemployment line before too long. So with that, how about we dive into the worst starting NFL quarterbacks of 2025 so far? Geno Smith. The Las Vegas Raiders made three big moves in Tom Brady's first offseason as a minority owner. The first was bringing in Super Bowl winning head coach Pete Carroll. The next was trading for Pro Bowl quarterback Geno Smith. The third was using the number 6 pick on prized running back prospect Ashton Jeanty. In the case of Smith, the Raiders had to give up a third-round pick to Seattle before handing their new quarterback a 2-year extension with $75 million. Surely Smith would be an upgrade over the likes of Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell, right? Well, you see, Smith has inexplicably been the worst quarterback the Raiders have started since, I don't know, Carson Palmer? Smith had just 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in his first 5 games as a Raider, dropping 4 games in a row after a superb Week 1 performance and win over the New England Patriots. Smith threw 21 picks as a rookie on the New York Jets in 2013. He's currently on pace to smash that personal best and finish with his worst passer rating since his rookie year. Then again, Smith probably isn't going to last much longer as the starter if he continues to throw more dimes to the opponents than his own players. Cam Ward. Look, we know that Ward is a rookie, but jeez. Maybe it's a little unfair to expect Ward to wow us the way that guys like Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, and Jaden Daniels did as a rookie, but we also didn't expect a QB with Ward's skill set to be this bad either. Ward lost his first 4 NFL starts and didn't pick up his first win until Week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals, who gift-wrapped that game with Amari DeMarcado's Deshaun Jackson moment, among many other self-inflicted mistakes. Even after that Week 5 comeback win, Ward had completed only 51.8% of pass attempts for 879 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and the so-called dual-threat QB had only 36 rushing yards on 14 carries, or 2.6 yards per carry. Ugh. This isn't to say that Ward will be a bust. I mean, former first overall picks John Elway, Troy Aikman, and Peyton Manning had horrible rookie years before becoming multi-time Super Bowl champions and Hall of Famers themselves. But man, it has been borderline unwatchable in Tennessee thus far. Was it too much to expect Ward to be better than the Titans' previous starting QBs and Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis? Like, come on. Tua Tagovailoa. No, Tagovailoa isn't the entire problem in Miami, but for a guy who got a $212.4 million extension, including $167.1 million in guarantees, well, you kinda expect a lot better. Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins set the tone for a disastrous year when they were crushed 33-8 by the Indianapolis Colts in Week 1. You know, the game where Tua had 1 touchdown and 3 turnovers. Just when Miami fans thought Tua was figuring it out in a Week 3 primetime game against the heavily favored Buffalo Bills, he threw a game-sealing interception with the Dolphins on the cusp of tying it up. Then he leads Miami to a much-needed win over the Jets in Week 4, only to get outdueled by Bryce Young and the lousy Carolina Panthers in a 27-24 loss. With Tyreek Hill suffering a season-ending injury against the Jets, the flaws of Tagovailoa shall be further exposed. And that is not going to be pretty, because, well, his production was uninspiring as is before Hill got hurt. On to next year, we guess. Tagovailoa's contract makes him impossible to trade in the offseason, at least for now. Joe Flacco. Hey, you gotta give it to Flacco. If not for his Super Bowl 47 championship run in 2012, he would have been out of the league years ago, and he wouldn't have tens of millions more in his bank account. But alas, being a Super Bowl winning QB and MVP buys you a lot of time in today's NFL, even if you're simply, well, pretty darn bad. After winning Comeback Player of the Year honors with the Cleveland Browns in 2023, Flacco landed with the Indianapolis Colts and made 6 starts in place of a struggling Anthony Richardson. Despite lackluster performances as a Colt, the Browns bet on lightning striking twice and brought back Flacco in 2025 free agency. Incredibly, they named Flacco the starting QB over highly touted rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, because of course. Anyway, Flacco lasted just 4 games in his second stint with the Browns, throwing 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions before being benched for Gabriel. After Week 5, he was traded to the desperate Cincinnati Bengals, who needed QB help after Joe Burrow's injury and Jake Browning's horrific performance. Pretty darn incredible, isn't it? The Bengals saw 4 horrible games from Flacco and chose him over better backup options like Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston. They want Flacco and Browning to save this season without Burrow. Oh man. Same old Bengals have returned, folks. Spencer Rattler. Everybody knows the deal with Rattler here. He is not the long-term guy in New Orleans. I mean, he's basically a bridge quarterback for their tank job this year before they find their real guy in the stacked 2026 NFL Draft. Now, Rattler hasn't been as bad as many had expected, but he's certainly reminding everyone why he's a former 5th-round pick. He's got some nice athletic traits, but the ceiling is just far too limited to be a quality starter in this league. Rattler lost all 6 starts in 2024 and had 4 touchdowns against 5 interceptions, never topping 243 yards in a single game. In his first 4 games of 2025, Rattler was held to under 220 yards passing. The one nice thing is he doesn't turn the ball over too often. But man, the lack of accuracy and ability to push the ball downfield means that he is locked in as a backup for life after this season. Jake Browning. Browning was among the league's best backup quarterbacks in 2023, replacing an injured Joe Burrow after he suffered a season-ending wrist injury. Browning went 4-3 as a starter with a superb 70.4 completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. But that was 2 years ago. This is now. One can understand why the Bengals initially put their faith in Browning when Burrow suffered a long-term turf toe injury in week 2, but Zach Taylor's patience in Browning lasted way too long this time, and it likely cost the Bengals their season. Browning was horrific in 3.5 games before the Flacco trade. He lost all 3 starts by double-digit points, throwing 6 touchdowns against 8 interceptions with a putrid 70.5 passer rating. You'd think extra time learning in Cincy's star-studded offense would have helped Browning improve from 2023, but no! Oh, one day the Bengals will realize the importance of having a proven and quality insurance option behind your star signal caller. Russell Wilson. A month before they traded up for Jackson Dart in the first round, the New York Giants signed Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency. Now they had 2 veteran bridge QB options as insurance policies. After selecting Dart with the number 25 pick, Giants head coach Brian Daboll stressed that Wilson was their starter. And boy, that did not last long. Considering that Wilson put up not so terrible stats with the Denver Broncos and Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023 and 2024 respectively, it felt reasonable to think that he could get something going with Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Tyrone Tracy Jr. Or not. Wilson lost all 3 of his starts, tossed 3 touchdowns against as many interceptions, and had a 59.5 completion percentage and a 78.9 passer rating, both career lows. Finally, he was benched in favor of Dart after a humiliating home loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 3. 5 years ago, Wilson was a surefire Hall of Famer who had several opportunities to win more Super Bowls. But given how the last 5 years have gone, well, it sure feels like he's played his way out of the Hall of Fame. The awful finish in Pittsburgh and a horrendous start in the Giants all but confirmed that he can't be trusted as a starter anymore. Kyler Murray. Who knows, maybe Kyler Murray hasn't been horrible this year, but jeez, even his biggest fans and defenders have to be at the end of their rope with him. We're now into year 7 of the Murray era. We have been making excuses for him time and time again. First, the supporting cast was the issue. Then Cliff Kingsbury was suddenly the problem. Then the offensive line. Then they were rebuilding under Jonathan Gannon. But come on, Murray had no excuses heading into 2024 or 2025. After another hot and cold season last year, the number 1 pick of 2019 has not looked any better this year. Oh, and by the way, he has Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. as his main weapons. Most other NFL QBs can only dream of such a tandem. Murray's inaccuracy, inability to close out games in the fourth quarter, and unhealthy habit of holding onto the ball too long continue to plague him in 2025. And guess what? Kingsbury was fired 3 years ago. There are no more excuses. Murray isn't pushing the ball downfield or taking advantage of what the defense is giving him underneath. At some point, the Cardinals have to ask themselves if another season of Murray's mediocrity is what they really want over a long-term goal of building a sustainable winner. Michael Penix Jr. After a strong 3-game audition to close out his rookie year, Penix Jr. entered 2025 with much higher expectations as the Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback. It was fair to assume a full year year of NFL experience under his belt would benefit Penix, not to mention the luxury of playing behind a top 5 offensive line with a ridiculous set of skill position guys, aka Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Kyle Pitts. But Penix's performance in September was so shaky that the Falcons appear hesitant to trade Kirk Cousins, despite the many QB-needy teams around the league. Clearly, Penix does not have the full confidence of his coaches. Penix Jr. had 3 touchdowns and as many picks in 4 September games, garnering a weak 61.1 grade at Pro Football Focus. If not for the luxury of being able to dump down so many passes to Bijan, Penix's stats would be much worse. So yeah, the number 8 pick of 2024 ought to step up. Unless he'd like Kirk Cousins to return the favor by replacing him as the starting QB. Bryce Young. The number 1 pick of 2023 is not playing as poorly as he did in his rookie year, but if Young doesn't turn a corner soon, it may be time for the Carolina Panthers to eye the top quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft class. Young was benched in favor of veteran Andy Dalton early last season. He only got his starting job back because Dalton suffered a thumb injury in a car accident. But Young finished the second half on a strong note to earn the starting job for 2025. Accuracy and brutal interceptions continue to be an issue for Young, who was held to under 160 passing yards in 3 of his 4 September starts. And his best performances, naturally, came against weaker competition in Atlanta and Miami. In regards to full-time starting quarterbacks this season, Young is still in the bottom 10. And the Panthers did him a solid by using a first-round pick on Arizona wideout Teteroa McMillan and signing former 1,000-yard rusher Rico Dowdle. The supporting cast around him has really improved. So why hasn't Young? Carolina needed him to emerge as a star by now, especially considering how much they gave up to the Chicago Bears in that ill-fated 2023 blockbuster trade. The Panthers won't admit it now, but it's impossible to imagine Bryce Young staying here in 2025 if he doesn't go beast mode down the stretch. A sad franchise like Carolina cannot afford to stay committed to a mediocre QB much longer. But who do you think is the NFL's worst starting quarterback in 2025? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.